Now, things start on time where I'm from. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Uncle Kage. I don't know why, but here I am at Eurofurence for the, good Christ, is this the 17th time I've been on this stage?
1700th?
Something like that. I tell stories. True stories. Unlike the rest of my countrymen, especially the ones in office. Typically, I tell stories about places I've been, people I've met, shit that's happened to me, wine that I've consumed. Those are short stories. But I got to thinking, the theme this year is fractures in time. And I've been coming to Eurofurence since EF8. Maybe I should tell stories of the Eurofurence of old. I'll take that as a yes. Usually starts out with a glass of wine in one hand and the phrase, "Let me tell you a story." Usually spoken in a slurred American accent like, "Let me tell you a story." No shit, there I was. It was in 2002 or some ungodly time like that. Thank you for that. That's the going back to the past.
Yeah, this is it, yeah.
2002, I got an email from this guy who had what I believed to be the greatest name in furry fandom. I immediately wanted to meet this man. When I got an email from somebody named Sven, take it off. I'm like, oh, he and I have got to be friends. He said, why don't you come to Eurofurence? I said, oh, you mean the one that's in a different European Union nation every single year and bops around Europe? And he said, something like that. So I said, sure. And they had a nice website. You see, I'm the chairman of a very, very large convention. It was a big convention back then. And every convention has a theme, right? And you try to do something that's kind of in line with the theme. And as I was on the plane to Germany, I thought, this is gonna be fun. I wonder, since this is such a cute, tiny little convention, I wonder if they're gonna do anything in line with the theme. And their theme that year was nice. It was on the website, the FIA. The Furry Intelligence Agency. I said, well, that's adorable. Somebody make a noise out there if you remember the FIA. Woo! Thank you, 12 people. As I said, it was small back then. Here's the trick. They're still around. You just don't know it. Yes, the FIA, a secret branch of the German government that was designed to kind of monitor the activity of these strange animal people out there. And they were bringing in a noted American scientist, an expert on these creatures. So I arrived at the airport. Coming from the United States very shortly after an unfortunate period of my country's history, I was wondering what the security was going to be like. And when I got to passport control, there was a German gentleman there who had no eyelids. Or at least, he might have had eyelids, but he could see through them. Because he was sitting there like this. And I walked toward him, he said, yeah. I got my passport out, I saw, he said, yeah, welcome. Oh, he had a night, didn't he? So I stepped out. I always travel in business attire when I fly. It makes people think that I'm important. So I stepped out of the passport. Hi. I'm being herded. I stepped out of the passport control, the old automatic doors, and whoosh, Star Trek doors slide open. There were 3 imposing-looking men in black suits with black sunglasses, black fedoras, and the curly radio things here, and very official-looking government ID. And I thought, that's nice. I just kind of started to go around them, and one of them stepped in my way and said, "Dr. Convey?" I said, "Yes. I really hope you're at the convention." He said, "Come with us, please." And they picked up my bags, one in front, one to the left, one to the right. They marched me out of the airport. This is at Frankfurt Flughafen. Out of the airport, there was a vintage silver Mercedes-Benz limousine out there with a red carpet leading up to it. 2 more of these black-clad individuals with the sunglasses looking around suspiciously like this. And a black SUV, front and back, with the FIA logo on the doors. And that limousine had flags mounted on the fenders, the German flag on the right, the FIA flag on the left. And I walked up, and I was greeted by a guy with a big dog who's like, "Grr, grr, I'm watching you, yeah." I looked in the back seat, there was a box of Cuban cigars. We can't get those. On the back seat, they opened the door and I got in, and in perfect synchronization, these 2 black SUVs and the limousine pulled out and around the ramp and onto the Autobahn. And the flags were flapping like this, and the SUVs were very close front and back. It must have made quite a spectacle, because I'm sitting in the back, kind of toward the driver's side, and I would see people would pull up, and I would see from the corner of my eye, they were kind of pacing, looking, and I would just do this. And they back up. We got off of the Autobahn, immediately onto a road made of dirt. It was this wide. And I suspect they wanted 2 vehicles to be able to pass. We started driving into the fields and into the forests, far from civilization. And I said, I really hope these guys are with the convention. In the middle of nowhere, on an unseen, unheard cue, we stopped. And the doors opened on the SUVs and people got out, and the passenger in the front seat got out. And I started to reach for the door handle, and the driver looked in the mirror and said, "Nine!" With the convention, right? They opened up the back of the SUVs and got out German police light bars and put them on the roofs of the SUVs and activated the sirens and brought me into the Khan site, which was a little youth hostel located in Siberia. Thank you. Pulled me up where there was another red carpet waiting. And I got out, and a gentleman came up, snapped to attention, and saluted, and I returned his salute. And he took me inside this red carpet to meet the immortal, the amazing Sven Tegetthoff, Cheetah to you and I. And I walked up and I said, "Dude, you win! I can't top this!" Cheetah and I have been the best of friends ever since. But I kind of made it my mission. Okay, they showed me up. Now I need to do something to out-cool the Germans. We did that once. I'm going to do it again, okay? Some of you got that. All right, anyhow. We were in a hotel in Philadelphia, and it was not long afterward that we moved to a big, gleaming glass palace of a convention center. and it was gorgeous. It's a huge step for furry conventions. I had to call up Sven. Hey Sven, it's Kage. You know, I'm having my convention at a huge, gorgeous convention center next year. And he said, oh, we're having ours in the castle. That was the last time I tried to out-cool Eurofurence. I couldn't if I wanted to. I would miss Anthrocon before I would miss Eurofurence. Because my staff doesn't give me this. I didn't even ask for this. They just knew somehow that I would want it. I was explaining to somebody once, by the way, in the first FurryCon panel, you're dragging your, just turn around, the cord, yeah. Years ago, I saw a fursuiter like this one, sitting in a chair, kind of sitting very still, and his chest was rising and falling in a somewhat exaggerated fashion. And I was worried. I went up and I said, are you okay? And he said, I'm feeling very overheated. I said, can I help you get somewhere? He said, no, I just could use some water. Now, in those days, we didn't have the fursuit lounges. We didn't have the long straws. So I had an idea. I said, I'll go to the bar, and I will get you a piece of ice. And then you can like suck on the ice or something that will cool you down and you'll have some water. He said, that's a good idea. So I went to the bar, and I went to the fursuiter. I said, okay, open your mouth. I was very bad at basketball my entire life. I watched the ice cube bounce off of his chin and go down here. And that is how I invented the fursuit dance competition. Getting back to EF, that was spectacular. EF8, that was my first Eurofurence, and it was amazing. Such a small convention of people who worked so hard, put so much of their heart and soul into making this happen. I even learned something. I spoke no German back then. I knew Ja and Nein, and I didn't know which one was which. I learned all of my German from watching Hogan's Heroes. Kids today. So I was very confused when I heard a word that I did not understand. Security was very, very active one morning when I woke up. And okay, as a convention organizer, when security is very active, what's going on? So I'm running around, like, what's the problem? There was something that was agitating them. So I stopped the security guy, I said, what's wrong? And he said, Kaus. I said, Kaus? Kauskinski? Kaus? What boss is Kaus? He said, Kaus, moo, moo, moo. I said, what? And I looked out, and they had cows. Apparently there was a farm next door, and one of the furries was very curious about the gate and was playing with it and managed to leave it open. And the con-site was awash with cows running through. And I got to watch Eurofurence security pretending to be Texas cowhands at the last roundup. I would have helped, but it was too funny just to watch. They also had a sign outside on the trees, and it was written in English, and it said, do not go fursuiting in the woods. This is hunting season. We are not joking. I thought, this could could be tragic and adorable at the same time. I loved EF8. I gave it my best. I wanted to make sure they got their money's worth. I tried very hard, tried to entertain. I think I might have done something right, because Sven contacted me afterward and said, would you come back next year? And I said, absolutely, absolutely. Next year was going to be EF9. There's a reason they call it EF9. Would you like to know why? Remember how I said Eurofurence is supposed to go to a different European nation every year? Well, apparently since I think EF8 or so, it had gotten stuck in Germany. It had been in Germany for several years in a row, and somebody got butthurt over it. Apparently somebody bitched about it, probably the French. I'm sorry, but you guys whine a lot, okay? Anybody here from France, by the way? I see a Frenchman here. Bonjour. Parlez-vous allemand? No?
Yeah.
You're welcome. Anyway, apparently somebody complained it's supposed to be in the different EU nations every year. Why is it always in the Allemand? So the Germans, they said, it just turned out that way. Okay, if you're complaining, raise your hand, who wants it? And the room was quiet. And then, way in the back of the room, a little hand from the Czech Republic went up. And the German said, okay, Czechia. And everybody else said, 9! Which is why they called it EF9. That's a cheap joke, I'm sorry. And I was very confused. I was watching the message boards, and people were screaming, this is terrible, we're going to boycott the convention, we're not going to go. Primarily Germans being upset at this, I'll have you know. And I thought, what, just because it's not in your backyard, you're getting upset? So I went on the message boards, and I said, guys, I don't see the problem. What is wrong? And they said, we do not want to go to the Czech Republic. I said, you didn't have a problem in 1938. Sorry, buddy. The funny part is that's true. That's exactly what I said. But it shut the argument down. But a lot of people didn't go that year. And I was mystified. Until I got there. First off, I like the Czech Republic. The Czech Furs, they worked their asses off. They did an incredible job with what they had available. The problem was they didn't really have a lot that was available. Like, technology, electricity, stone tools. I was picked up at the airport by a fantastic young fellow who was driving a vintage Skoda. One of those with the engine in the back. And when you open up the back of the trunk, it looks like somebody dropped a grape into a steamer trunk. There's a little engine this big in the middle of this huge empty space. And I said, why is all that empty space? He said, well, in case you need to put a spare engine in. We started off into the mountains. And I watched the speedometer as we went up the hills go down. And as we went down the hills, it went up. And as we went up the hills, it went down. And we went up the hills, it went up. And then we got to the bottom of the hill where it was straight for a long way, and I was getting very nervous. We passed farmers who watched us go by with looks of astonishment. said to my driver, "That's fun, you'd think they'd never seen a car before." And with a straight face, he said, "They probably haven't." Honest, guys, every story I tell is guaranteed 105% true by the White House itself. Don't do that. Anyhow, we got to the con site. I don't know where they found this thing. It was called, and I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, Sportorial Samopsip. A youth camp, a sporting camp that was apparently built in the Stalin era. Because when you drove in, there was a series of gray concrete bunkers. And I said, "What's this?" He said, "This is Eurofurence." I said, "Really?" Now I know why they went to a castle. Well, I took my baggage out, and I was shown to my room. A long hallway that went down the center of the bunker had rooms on either side. Little rooms, maybe 2 meters wide by 3 meters long. And the doors had 2 locks, one on the inside, one on the outside. And I said, "Do I get both keys?" He said, "Oh, nobody knows where the keys are." I'll just put my suitcase in front of them. Okay. Does anybody remember EF9? Woo! Remember the river?
Yes.
There was a river. They affectionately called it the Toxic River. It ran behind the con site. And I think everything drained into that river. Everything, including the wastewater from Chernobyl. Do you know what Monster Energy drink looks like? That's what the river looked like. I swear on my mother's grave, it was exactly the same color. It's probably the same ingredients, with just slightly more radioactive isotopes. They didn't have a large room for an event hall like this. So being inventive, these furries rented a large performance tent that was to be placed on a level piece of ground, which apparently when the tent was put up, nobody could find. So they found a piece of ground that did this. Close, okay? They would have all their big events in there, and they had a pulpit stage, nice stage like this. They had got sound equipment, and they had wireless microphones just like this. And it was very, very soon that some problems began. They were getting ready to start the pulpit show, for example, and they were having trouble with the microphones because the wireless microphone. And then, so Cheetah said, "Uncle Kage, do you know how to distract people?" There was one advantage that they had. This portion of Czechoslovakia is very close to a place they used to call, I believe, Moravia, where they make extraordinary white wine. At the time, a bottle of white wine cost 25, I think it was the kroner, the local currency, 25, which was approximately 8 cents US. I had 1,500 of these in my pocket. I bought the bar. I still own it. So I distracted people. I did what I do. You're seeing it now. Don't look at the sound stage. Don't look at the guys working. Just look at the funky American who's going to throw up on his shoes because he's drinking 8-cent wine. And I was doing that. And behind the pulpit stage, I heard an urgent voice whisper, "Kage, Kage." What? Fairlight was back there. Fairlight's a grand great puppeteer, fantastic guy. Looked at, I said, what is this? He said, don't touch the light pole, it's under current. I said, well, of course it's under current, it's a light pole. That's how it works, you can't get electricity. He said, no, 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 no. And I said, you're serious, aren't you? Apparently, they had hired a Czech electrician, to plug in the technology, which is a word I invented. He wired in all 237.5 volts and 75 billion amperages and forgot to ground any of it. Everything, the tent poles, the light poles, was electrified. Ask Cheetah how this was discovered. You know what happened to his hair? Everything was under current. The entire tent was energized. And that's when the thunderstorm started. They could not get the wireless microphones to work. Cheetah was in despair. And he said to me, we'll have to cancel the performance. I said, no. That is the one rule in show business that is absolutely non-negotiable. The show must go on. He said, but the wireless microphones are crap. I said, do you have wired microphones? He said, yes, but the sound stage is all the way in the back. I said, so how long are the cords? And he got a look of revelation on his face. And he said, we might make this work, and maybe no one will die. So they got 6 microphones with wires, and they ran them to the sound stage in the back, and they ran the wires over the shoulders of the audience. And at the intermission, they asked me again if I would distract people. So I took one of these microphones. And you notice I tend to move around a lot? I was having fun making a wave. I'd go like this and people are going... It's like... No decapitations, everybody had fun. Oh, I left my watch in the States. I gotta keep track of time. There we go, okay. There are rumors that we made it work and that the relief was so intense that Cheetah and I wound up dancing shirtless on stage. These are just rumors, of course. No photos exist. So you can believe what you want. So that was EF9. There are a lot of other things that happened that to this day they haven't told me about. And I'm a colleague. But still to this day they refer to EF9 as the disaster. And have you noticed? It's been in Germany ever since. Live and learn, right? Cheetah asked me if I would come back. I said, really? After that? Sure, why the hell not? EF10. I think that was Olpa. Was that correct?
Yes!
EF10 was in Olpa. Olpa is a magnificent, cute little town. To an American, it doesn't look real. I mean, Olpa is a very, very old area. And we're driving through and I said, oh, no, okay, you're taking with me. This is a theme park. This is Germany land, isn't it? Yeah, I see. That's made of cardboard over there, right? Because we don't We don't have anything like that in my country. In my country, something 125 years old is considered old. And 300 miles is considered a short distance. Just keep that in mind. I don't remember a lot about Olba, and there's a reason. For one thing, they managed to find really fantastic German wine, which you might notice I love, in a keg. I think the keg held 10 liters or so. And I was determined not to waste any of it. So, there you are. As the night went on, I'm going to finish this sucker. There comes a point when you are consuming alcohol that it begins to affect your brain. I tend to have a very strong tolerance, but we reached a point where I apparently forgot how to speak English. I could only speak French, and I still can't figure out why that seemed to be. I couldn't remember the English words. Comme ça. There's only one thing that I remember from that night. And that was thinking, again, it affects your mind. It affects your judgment. They had these large glasses you drink beer from. You know the really big ones you like to drink the beer out of? Steins. Yeah, Steins. I thought it would be a good idea to mix equal parts red wine, Jägermeister, and absinthe. When I woke up the next day, I was dead. Rigor mortis, putrefaction, everything. I was already starting to decompose. I woke up. We had bunk beds. I was sharing a room with Gideon. You might know him. He's an old friend of mine, a furry artist, Gideon. He has a very big name in the family back where I come from. Some of you are fans, I heard that chuckle. He was in the bottom bunk, I was up on the top bunk. And I woke up, and I sat up, and I was groaning. Oh my God. I have never felt pain like that. I've had headaches before. This was a masterpiece. Gideon woke up concerned and he said, "Are you all right?" I said, "No. I fell out of the bunk last night and I fractured my skull on the floor." And he said, "No, I don't think so." He said, "You didn't move all night. In fact, a few times I had to check and make sure you still had a pulse." And I tried to move. And the body, having been poisoned by a combination of red wine, Jägermeister, and absinthe, wanted to rid itself of everything that might be left. It wanted to get rid of the remaining absinthe. It wanted to get rid of the remaining red wine. It wanted to get rid of my pancreas. It wanted to get rid of my spleen. You know how it is when you feel it coming up and you try to gulp it back down? I slid down onto the floor and I went to take a shower. This was the greatest idea. I don't know why we didn't keep this. When you went into the room, you went through the shower. You guys remember that? You went through the shower to get into the room. You couldn't leave the room without going through the shower. Think about that. So I stumbled into the shower. Fortunately, didn't go through the other door in my stupor. And when I came out, I started putting on my nice clothes and pulling my lab coat on, and Gideon said, "What are you doing? You should go back to bed." I said, "No. Uncle Kage has a reputation. Must go down and act like everything is good." So I went down to breakfast. You know that walk where you can't lift your heels? And I sat down at breakfast. And I looked at the wonderful fare offered by Germany for breakfast, with 85 different kinds of boiled pig. I'm just going to have some coffee. And I poured the coffee, and it was, don't make so much noise. And I picked up the sugar dispenser. My hand was shaking. And that's when I met Thor, the thunder god. Thor, are you out there? He's a wonderful fellow. We've become good friends. But he has the most amazing baritone reverberating voice. I believe he's from Denmark, because he sat down with me and said, "Oh, is it all right if I sit here?" To pick up the sugar again, and Thor decided to make conversation. "Do you know there are places in Denmark we put salt in coffee?" Those are my memories of EF10. What was the next year? That would be 11, wouldn't it? Was that the first year in Nuremberg? EF11. Oh my gosh. EF11. First off, the city of Nuremberg is magnificent. It is beautiful. It is a jewel of classical medieval German architecture. They did such a remarkable job, shall we say, picking up the pieces after our attempts to help them remodel. We're sorry. But I loved Nuremberg. And Nuremberg Castle, that was the castle! Oh, yes. Go for it. See, I gotta find it. There it is. What? No. Okay, I'm waiting. Okay, this is not a 1970s soap opera. How much have you had to drink? Not enough. Here.
Not enough.
I'll speak slowly. I love Nuremberg Castle, with one tiny exception. Okay, two tiny exceptions. One, apparently they didn't have lifts in the 14th century, which was the last time they remodeled the castle. They had installed a lift after our remodeling that was exactly the size of one German, or 2/3 of an American. I mean, you could fit one person up in this thing. And the other was the showers. I don't know who thought this was a good idea. I guess it was a water-saving measure. These showers had a large button in the wall. You couldn't miss it. It was the size of your palm. You push the button and psh, water, nice warm water would come cascading down for exactly 10 seconds. And then it would stop. You would have to push the button again. And you would get another 10 seconds. The third time you get a third 10 seconds. But they were wise to that trick. Because the fourth time, it changed. See, there are two pipes in the wall behind that button. One of them is connected directly to the North Sea, whereas the other is connected to the Earth's molten core. When they mix with a sort of explosion of steam inside that button, you get nice warm water. On the fourth push, the Earth's core is cut off. And it's very sudden. There's no, guess what, here it comes. It's, you've pushed it too many times, you're fucked now. I was met with a surprise. A very, very sharp surprise. I am told. See, a lot of times I am not a witness. I have to be told these stories. But I am told a story. Some of my German friends had a room on the opposite side of the castle from mine. And they were jolted out of bed. And they sat up. And one of them said, "What the hell was that?" And another one said, "I don't know, but it was English and loud. It has to be Uncle Kage." And it was. Something about, oh, let's see, motherfucking goddamn Kraut showers. I think that's what I said. And you would too. That was 11. EF12. EF12 kind of had special meaning. Because I was in love with Eurofurence by now. My dear and sainted parents were approaching their 50th wedding anniversary. And, okay, this is a special time. We call it the golden anniversary. So I was visiting my parents at their home and I said, okay, your 50th wedding anniversary is coming. You tell me where you'd like to go, I'll send you. I thought they would want to go to old people places. You know, Niagara Falls, Florida, Alaska cruise. No, I said, where do you want to go? And they said, Eurofurence. I said, okay. So I called up Cheetah. And I said, dude, guess what? And he was thrilled. He was absolutely thrilled. And he said, I need two things. I need a picture of your parents back when they were first married, and I need to know what song they danced to at their wedding. Okay, the first one was easy. I had that hanging up in my house. But how do you find out what song your parents danced to at their wedding? Do you know what song your parents danced to at their wedding? No, you don't, do you? I had to find out. But how do you casually find out? Say, Dad, not that this has anything to do with your upcoming golden anniversary, but what song did you dance to at your wedding? I'm just curious. Now, That wasn't going to work. I had to use subterfuge. That's called being sneaky in my language, by the way. My little old mom was working at a little delicatessen at lunchtime. And I went to that little delicatessen. She had a lot of regular customers, older businessmen that knew her. So I kind of stood in the back while she was waiting on her customers. And I started telling her customers about her exciting youth when she rode with the motorcycle gang and all of the things that her and her posse used to do, the encounters with the police that they had, her record. She doesn't like her customers knowing about this, so she started throwing things at me, increasingly heavy things. And when she threw the soup pot at me, I ducked and I said, don't give me that, lady, for Christ's sake. When you got married, you danced a wild thing. She said, that's not true. It was red sails in the sunset. I said, oh, really? Grandma Kage didn't raise no idiot. So I told Cheetah, and I said, what are you gonna do? And he said, don't worry, we Germans don't do anything halfway. Not gonna go there. So I entreated the furry public. This was before GoFundMe. I said, hey, anybody want to chip in? Let's get my parents there in style. With the help of the furry community, both American and European, we were able to get first-class tickets for my parents to fly across the Atlantic. They arrived in Nuremberg. They were as enchanted as I was. Heather Alexander, now Alexander James Adams, was performing that year as the spirit of music. Oh, and she was absolutely memorable, sublime. My parents loved the performance. In a big room, not maybe as big as this, but the same concept, a large room like this. And after it was done, I took them out onto the castle battlements to look out over the beautiful medieval city of Nuremberg at night. And I waited for a high sign. I can't recall, was it either Louis or Ovolf showed up in the door and was like, they needed somebody tall. I said, oh, Mom, Dad, Heather wanted to meet you. You liked your music so much, she'd like to meet you. They said, oh, okay, let's go back inside. Now I know what it means when you say, Germans don't do anything halfway. In the mere 9 minutes that we were out there, the entire convention, everyone was in on it. They hastily moved all the chairs out of the room. They laid down a dance floor. And they projected that picture of my parents when they were young. And when we got inside, every member of the convention was standing around the dance floor, each one holding a candle. And that's what lit the room. And I ushered my parents out onto the dance floor. And Cheetah introduced them, and then began playing Nat King Cole, Red Sails in the Sunset. You know it? You'll learn it for the next time I tell this story. Imagine Nat King Cole playing the piano with Foxamore. Red Sails in the Sunset, just like they danced to in 1956. My mom's birthday was this past Monday, by the way. She is of a certain age. Gentlemen don't tell. Could be a late birthday present. After Eurofurence, I took them on a first-class overnight sleeper train to Paris. and we toured Paris for 3 days. We saw all the Paris sights. It ended, you know, we saw Versailles, we saw the Seine, had a boat ride on the Seine. The evening ended with dinner in the Eiffel Tower, altitude 95. Dinner in the Eiffel Tower at sunset, overlooking the city of lights. Paris, that one. 3 days in Paris. A dream vacation for any American, really. Especially, you know, la vie d'amour. But to this day, many years later, to this day, if you ask my mom about her 50th wedding anniversary, the only thing she talks about is the dance at Nuremberg by candlelight, surrounded by furries. I could go on. What was that, 11, 12? I lost track. I'm having so much trouble remembering. I don't... Hey.
Does anyone have a corkscrew? Hast anyone einen Korkenscrewen? For to be taken out the corken from the Flasche?
Whoa. Ah! Oh, a Frenchman, hi. Thank you very much. No, he's Swiss. Brief intermission. Fox, keep him entertained. I'll be right back. Sorry, where was I? That was 12. Oh, then there was EF13. No, you can't. Was that the first year at the Ringberg?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I could do an entire story hour about the Ringberg. My favorite memory of the Ringberg Hotel was the barman. He is the greatest barman in all of Germany. His name is Andre Opitz. Herr Opitz, when he first met me, I went up to him and I introduced myself the way I typically introduce myself to someone that I meet in Germany. I walked up and said, Guten Tag, ich bin ein dummer Amerikaner und ich spreche kein Deutsch. Which, for those who don't speak German, is, I'm a stupid American and don't speak your language. That is a useful phrase for someone from my country. A little self-deprecating humor goes a long way. Ich bin ein dummer Amerikaner. Ich spreche kein Deutsch. In France, je suis la barbare américaine. Je ne parle pas français. In the Czech Republic, je suis blbý Američan a nevím česky. In Japan, 私はやっぱり外人ですよ。全然わかりません。In Australia, I mean, like, fuck it. But I said that to Andre, and Andre, he fell over laughing. He loved it. And every time he saw me from across the bar, Dr. Duma Americano, hello, who's the line? Yeah, he's on the line here. I became Dr. Duma Americaner. I was going to put that on my badge, Dr. Duma Americaner. Andre was fantastic because, let's face it, nobody here becomes a furry. You are a furry, and then you only at some point discover that there's a word for it. Andre discovered it. When we came in, he was like, my people! He took to us right away. He decided he was an otter. And Andre's head, he doesn't have any of this stuff. He called himself the hairless master of alcohol. And that was his persona, was an otter bartender. He even made up little, I can't recall who the artist was, drew his persona, holding the barman's dispenser. And he had these reproduced in a small postage stamp size and had them laminated so they're liquid proof. And he would put one at the bottom of every drink. So when you finished your drink, there would be his card. Andre, the hairless master of alcohol. So he was the hairless master of alcohol, and I was der Duma Amerikaner. Do you know I used to have a fursuit? Have you ever seen pictures of Chester Ringtail? That slinky, sexy boy toy character that goes back to the early days of furry fandom. Terry Smith created the character. There was a fursuit of it. Guess who wore that fursuit? Chester. I was a little bit better built then. I was able to fill the Chester suit much more nicely than I would today. Chester was very, very popular with many people. And Chester came out of the lift. And he was, ringtail cat slinking across the lobby with that little sway of his. And Andre saw him, and there were immediately little hearts popping in his eyes. And Andre ran up and he gave Chester a big hug. And he got his photo taken with Chester. Whispering in Chester's ear, holding his head on his shoulder. Picture with Chester. Oh, he was smitten. Then he had to go back to the bar, and he kissed Chester on the cheek, and started going back, but Chester caught his sleeve, and pulled him up, and poked that dainty little muzzle into his ear, and said, Duma Amerikaner. And behind her, for those of you who remember the amazing man, and for those of you who would like to meet him, Andre is coming to visit Eurofurence on Saturday. I shall introduce you for a small compensation. There's so many more stories I could tell. The problem is, I've got all this wine, and there's only me to drink it. This is going to be a problem. Not for me, but for you. Because if I drink all this myself, I'm going to fall down. Thankfully, it is all for me, and I am not obliged to share it with anyone at all. Eurofurence and the sole... Tien Long, ladies and gentlemen. Wait a minute. Did you already have one? You son of a bitch!
It was one sip, okay? I just had to make sure that it was, you know,
Okay, how
cold
many
enough.
sips is that, guys?
That's one...
You got a big mouth.
It's one German sip, okay?
Oh, a German sip.
It's a German sip, yes.
How many imperial sips is that?
Oh. You're the only man up here that counts as an imperial, you backwards pig, you.
Any other Yanks here right now? 1, 2, 3.
You almost have enough to start a baseball game.
We have been outnumbered.
So I couldn't help but listening on all of the exciting stories that you had of Eurofurences of past in the back there. And, well, I just wanted to come up and just personally thank all of Eurofurence so far because it has been a wonderful time and I wouldn't miss this convention for the world. So thank you very much for having us back once again, Eurofurence.
Indeed. Thank you very much.
Being back here. What are we doing up here again?
Well, I think it's time to point out that Uncle Kage's Story Hour is free. That's the entree. This is the charity portion of the show.
And the charity portion requires donations, if I'm not mistaken.
It requires donations. The more donations we get, the funnier we'll be.
Well, I don't know about funny, but the more they donate, the more I drink. So, please donate.
If we get at least 10,000 euros in donations, I will shotgun this entire bottle.
That's also called a German sip. As you can see, I couldn't do one.
So, you will see some Oh, people are leaving. Sit down! You will see some staff members. They're all leaving. Sit down! Lock the doors!
Where's Dory with the...
Oh, wait a minute, I got it. Those are the Americans, aren't they? Fuck off!
They just don't want their American...
Republicans, get out! Republican scum, get out of here! Fuck this dish!
I think it's working too well, dude.
They must be. No, come back, please. Oh, yes! You see these bags? Put euros in these bags. This is not for us. This is for the amazing little
Litriola.
shoelaces.
Litriola shoelaces, yes.
So
The
they're like-
anthropomorphic shoelaces.
They're stretch rats.
Stretch rats?
Stretch rats. You take a
Dude,
rat.
I thought they were water noodles.
Water noodles?
Yes.
No, I like stretch rats better. So, these bags will be passing up and down, and we're going to, oh, by the way, I am terribly remiss. I should be smacked. I apologize to our performer up here, who is really the big name you all came to see. Ladies and gentlemen, I did not point out Fox some more. Basically, Furry Fandom's premier musician, our own Bart. Mr. Amore comes all the way from the heathens of Scotland.
Sounds more like Spain.
What? I didn't understand him. He was speaking in Scottish. Oh, you're Spanish now.
Yeah.
Oh, tacos, enchiladas.
That's El Foxamore.
Yeah, El Foxamore.
El Foxo, yes.
Oh, it would be El Zoromore.
El Zoramore. Yes, I like that better.
Yeah, El Zoromore.
I still love how it's like the bar that's currently set for furry music performances. Can you play Thomas the Tank Engine on your instrument?
So here's how this works. The show's still going. At this point, we shall entreat donations for the little stretch rats. Oh, what are they called again? Water noodles? No,
Yes,
what are they
water
called?
noodles.
Those guys. The Lutrioli. The Minx.
Yes, those minks.
How can I forget the minks? Oh, I'm sorry. The European minks who are being forced out by the American minks, I saw what they did there.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're going to continue doing funny shit up here, and Foxamore is going to continue trying to make it classy. And again, if you get a chuckle, if you get a little warmth in your heart, and it's worth it to you, drop some money in the bag, and we're just going to keep going.
Wait, I have to check first of all, because this happened last year. You didn't bring a Speedo this time, did you?
No. Did you?
Wasn't that part of the act? Well, if you don't have a Speedo, I'm not putting one on this time. I thought that was going to be like the number one thing that happened. Like we put on a Speedo and we sit here and people look at us in our Speedos.
Last year there was nudity involved, and there were some people who thought that was a little over the top.
Well, are you saying you had nudity because there's a nude on stage?
There is a noodle on stage. I'm going to keep my clothes on, and Tien is going to keep his belt on. Don't make him take the belt off. Incidentally,
There's definitely a drop down on Fur Affinity for that.
what is in this cord that you carry? You never told me.
In this gourd that I
Yes.
carry, there's a whole lot of disappointment because it's empty.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Well, what normally goes into it?
liquid disappointment.
That reminds me. I'm going to practice some of my Japanese, if that's okay. Nippon no tomodachi, doko desu ka? Osaka arimasu ka? Osake arimasen? Kamarimashita ne, fukuyu. There were supposed to be Japanese guys here with sake, they missed their cue. Because this gourd is generally for sake, right?
Yes, that is correct.
And we all know what sake is.
Isn't it that thing that, like, you know, old drunken, like, wise sages from the tops of, like, Mount Everest drink?
Yes,
Yes, exactly like that.
which is why I drink it.
Oh, dude, I didn't know you were a video game final boss.
I am a sage from the top of the mountain.
Well, speaking of sage and being all sage-like and providing wisdom and whatnot, you mentioned that you did your first FurryCon panel earlier, right? So, it seems that every single year, you know, you've got a good smattering of, you know, first-time people that are actually attending that con for, you know, learning rather than watching and hearing you do funny things. Did you see them learn anything in particular? Any important lessons that you may have imparted on them? Like refilling your glass, perhaps?
Typically, we teach them things that we should not have to teach people.
Like?
Oh, like, do not walk through the glass doors. Yes.
I thought that was what birds always did.
Everything, every single rule that this convention has, everything we teach you was put in place because somebody made it necessary.
Wait a minute. When you say that, and I recall you mentioned that no running in the woods at night sign because hunting season is on.
Yes?
You weren't making that up, were you?
I was not making them. You know my stories are 105% true.
Are they certified by the FDA?
Certified by the United States White House. That's what they're certified by.
Right. So, what was that hunting thing? What was the result of that?
Okay, what was the result of that? No fursuiters ran into the woods and got shot, thank goodness.
Okay, good. So, basically what we're saying is Eurofurence doesn't have a hunting season going on right now.
They do not.
Good.
It is always a concern when fursuiters are out in public or outside of the convention, you know, secure area. My God, I wish I could remember which con this was at. It was many years ago, in the early 2000s. I was at the convention, and for the life of me, I can't remember where it was. I was at a bar, and there were some fursuits there, and there was a drunk, not me, a different one.
Me.
And this drunk was harassing the fursuits. And I could see that he was being an asshole and the fursuits weren't very comfortable, and I was going to say something, But a fursuit was a partial suit, went up, and I could see this fursuit talking to the drunk, and the drunk looked like he was not having any of it. I couldn't hear it, but I knew what was going on. The fursuit was probably saying, dude, look, just why don't you leave these folks alone, okay? And the drunk, thank you. The drunk was getting very belligerent. And I saw the fursuit, he had his hand up, and he's saying, oh, dude, don't even try it. The drunk took a swing at him. And the fursuit ducked back and the swing missed. When the guy finished his swing, the fursuit grabbed him by the collar, shoved him against the wall, pulled out a badge and said, you're under arrest. If I had been the least bit sober, I would have filmed that. I'm positive I didn't dream it, because I remember a few other people were talking about it the next day. But for some reason, I cannot remember the details.
I remember one particular incident that I had seen at a convention in the USA involving fursuiters and interactions with the public. Some of you here may have heard of a convention by the name of EF10. It takes place around this time. In fact, it takes place next week after Eurofurence.
Next week? Oh, it does.
Yes,
I've watched my life.
And it takes place in the city of Indianapolis. So one year, they were having their convention in a hotel at the same time as a fraternity meeting. For those of you that are not familiar with fraternities, or frats for short, they're basically, social clubs for guys that basically like to say bro and dude with every other word in their sentences.
Do they have college fraternities in Europe too? Or is that strictly an American thing? Okay, you know what we're talking about. Frat boys. Okay, go on, Tien.
So they had frat boys in the same hotel as the fursuiters, and well, throughout the weekend we didn't really get along. And the frat boys kept on, throwing jabs verbally, maybe physically at the fursuiters. The fursuiters kept on doing it back. So we decided one night to settle our differences the old-fashioned way.
Not the very old-fashioned way. At 10 paces, a different old-fashioned way.
Oh yes, the 10 paces, not that old-fashioned. Not the old American fashioned way, the old European fashioned way. So they all got together at a long table at the bar. Fursuiters on one side, frat boys on the other side, and a giant keg in the middle. So they started drinking together, and they had one glass after another, one pint after another, and they kept on going at it non-stop, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, trying to slug it out and see who would be the last group standing. And at some point, the frat boys started chanting, take it off, take it off, take it off. Take it off. And at that point, the fursuiters looking at each other, well, they weren't sure what they would do, so what did they do? They took it off.
The heads.
The heads, that is, of course. And they placed the heads on the tables, all gross and sweaty. For those of you that are familiar with fursuiters, it doesn't exactly get nice after a while. There's definitely a drop-down for you on Fur Affinity. And when the fursuiters put the heads on the table, the furries all looked at one another, and they looked at the frat boys dead in the eye, and started chanting, put it on, 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 put it on. And lo and behold, the frat boys put on fursuit heads.
Give it to them, come on. We need more of that shit.
Yes, the frat boys put on the fursuit heads, and lo and behold, we had converted the frat boys into furries.
You missed the one, okay, you missed the icebreaker.
Oh, the
Do you remember the icebreaker?
Well, I remember it, I just don't know if you wanted to deliver it since you brought it up.
I was there.
Mm-hmm.
You see, the frat boys didn't trust the furries and didn't want to interact with the furries. They had this giant bowl where they had a mixture of alcohol, and they had straws and they were sipping from it. and this little old man in a lab coat came over and was watching them. And the frat boys, with their straws, they stopped and they looked at the little old man. And the little old man said, amateurs. And after that, we were friends. But don't go throwing shit.
Oh, I just lost my biggest fan. That's no big deal.
I'll put this back over here because the wine's getting warm. Thank you, Wadius, by the way. Wadius gave us a hat full of coins.
Did I drop the icebreaker on the hat full of coins?
You did.
Oh, and there's one other detail about that story that I always love to share, especially for those of you that are familiar with, well, let's say, the convention security and how they might usually go around telling people to keep it down at parties. Well, at this particular convention, with all the commotion going on, the convention chairman ran to convention operations and said, guys, there's something happening in the lobby. And the security head went with the convention chairman, running to the lobby, and they stared down at the scene alone. And the security guy said, look, right there. Or the convention guy said, look, right there. And the head of security looked at the concierge of the hotel, and the concierge looked back up at the hotel, and the head of security, and the hotel concierge just went,
They're getting along.
They're getting along, no one's getting hurt, and frankly, they're buying the bar out, which is always good for business. Basically, it goes to show that there's a lot more in common, like you had said earlier, where furries aren't made, we are discovered. You already are a furry. You don't need to be given an excuse to become a furry. You just need to accept that you are.
It was that same convention. Okay, this one is always difficult with the European audience because there's a lot of cultural meaning to Americans, and I'm not certain if it translates well. Let's try it and see if it works.
All right.
Some furries wanted to get onto their, we always say fursuiters should get on first. Well, fursuiters are waiting for the elevator, and the doors open, and there were 2 or 3 of these frat boys on it, and they wouldn't let the fursuits on. And one of them said, sorry, you ain't Rosa Parks and you ain't getting on this bus. And the door is closed. Well, the furries reported this to the convention chairman. The convention chairman reported it to the hotel convention services manager, who is a very small, soft-spoken black lady. What was her name, do we recall?
Tanya.
Tanya. Not our Tanya, Tanya. They reported to Tanya, who is a small little black lady, they said, these frat boys wouldn't let us on the elevator. They said, you ain't Rosa Parks and you ain't getting on this bus. Now, again, I wasn't there. I can only go by what folks told me. Apparently, Tanya heard this and she said, oh,
hell no! And she went running right out of the room. That night, for the very first time ever in that fraternity's history, they had to hold an emergency board meeting that same night to address the fact that the hotel wanted to kick all of them out and their reservations no refunds given because they pissed the furries off.
Oh, not because they pissed the furries off, they pissed Tanya off.
That's true. Tanya's a furry, that's for sure.
Yes. It's very, very heartwarming to me to see how far furry fandom has come. I don't like to take credit for anything. But there's one thing I will take credit for, and that is introducing the city of Pittsburgh to furry fandom. That, if I die right now of alcohol intoxication, which is very, very likely, I will go to my grave very, very proud of the fact that I turned Pittsburgh furry. And that's something that I've mentioned to Sven I turn the city of Pittsburgh furry will spend. The city of Berlin awaits. There's the challenge, guys.
Okay, but they're at least allowed to have fursuiters at the airport.
Okay, all right. They can have fursuiters at the airport. We can't have fursuiters at our airport because, yeah, it might cause a problem. Are you kidding? Okay, it was not that long ago that if you got onto an American aircraft and you had knitting needles for knitting, they would take away the knitting needles. And I asked one of our TSA, Transportation Security Administration, which is American for Geheime Staatspolizei. I said, why are you taking away that old lady's knitting needles? And he said, because she might knit an Afghan. Tien, save me. I think I screwed that up.
I think I need to end you right
Okay,
now.
that goes over really big in New York. Like I said, cultural,
Yes, let's work on that alcohol overdosing, shall we?
Okay. Sorry, buddy.
So, the city of Berlin is ripe for the furries picking, is that what you're
Oh,
saying?
did you see that? Okay, outside of the Reichstag when we were there last year visiting, they had the boards up for construction, and one of the boards had a picture of a young lady French kissing the Berlin bear.
Oh my goodness,
You're already 98% of the way there, for God's sake.
You guys have more furry, furry art
Yeah.
than most countries even allow on their websites.
That picture was actually kind of hot. I mean,
Is it bad that I agree?
French kissing a bear. That's. I gotta take a picture of that.
I did.
Did you have the same kind of feelings that I had?
Is it the feelings I can talk about without wearing a lab coat to hide it?
Don't give away my secrets.
I do agree though. Berlin is a magnificent city, and
It is.
to be quite honest, I wish I had more time each year to go out and visit it. I mean, we did last year, did we not? We took a day out to Berlin, and we took a few friends with us as well, some local tour guides, so to say. And I remember when we actually went to, the Reichstag, and we walked around and did the touristy things, and we went, photos and whatnot. And we stopped by one of the tourist shops. Do you remember that brochure that we saw?
Oh, the one that was it showing that it was the one that had President Obama and President Trump with his pants around his ankles and Angela Merkel kind of embracing them both? Or do you mean a different one?
Well, yes, Mama Merkel, as I believe she's called, Mama Merkel basically standing tall, imposing over the two presidents, one former and one current, and the presidents have their pants dropped down and showing the American flag boxes and basically proudly singing the American national anthem, and Grandma Merkel is just standing over them like, I am so disappointed in you, America. That was a kick-ass brochure. I am pretty sure I grabbed at least a photo and a copy.
And he's not even American.
Oh, I'm not.
See, the funny part is I really wanted to see that show because I want to know what that was about.
Then, you know what? We should have asked them to come here on this weekend. I
Well, the
understand they
thing
have
is,
shows.
I wanted to know what it was about, but then that night I turned on CNN and I knew.
Speaking of the shows that they had here, or have here in the past,
Oh my fucking God!
what?
I had a special delivery for the wine thief.
That's definitely me. I am the thief. Yes, that's
Where
me.
the fuck? Excuse us, ladies. A little sidebar a moment.
No, he clearly addressed it to the wine thief.
Let me see this.
No, you can't thief the thief, okay? That's called unstealing. No, you cannot unsteal a stolen item.
What's the date?
The date is, dude, it's soft.
What? Motherfucker! He's English. I thought it was... You fucking cock tease!
Don't say that. You know that they wanted to be.
This is for him.
Whoever gave us this cock tease, we'll call it, first of all, screw you. Second of all, you owe me a bottle now.
It's very realistic.
Okay, when he brought it up, I was all like, oh, hello, oh my, notices your bottle, oh, whoa. Now I'm just, hitting all the angry emojis in response to that.
And you wonder why I drink.
I would drink, but this is a fake, so I can't. I'll just stash it beside my bottle of disappointment. How about that?
Yeah, that looks about right.
Eyes up, you.
Sorry. Oh boy. I was going somewhere with that.
We were going somewhere, and then we got cock-blocked. Anyhow.
What? Oh, read the label on the bottom.
Read the label on the bottle.
It's in Japanese.
This says...
It says Osake.
Guaylo.
No, it says sake.
Okay, fine, it says sake.
And this says made in Japan. That's what it says.
If it was made in Japan, I'm pretty sure they would have actually put sake in there. Oops.
It would.
It gets a little limp sometimes, okay? I can't help it.
Oh, pick that up.
There we go.
Sorry.
What were we talking about before that happened?
We were talking about Berlin.
We were talking about Berlin and how... Oh, yes, I was going to mention how they also have shows, I believe, at the Esther. I could have sworn that the year that I first came, which was 2017, one of the shows that was playing that night was some sort of, I want to say it was a burlesque show.
It was a burlesque show.
Well, it turned into a burlesque show.
It turned into one, yes. There's a story there.
Because I remember when some of the patrons were coming out of that show that evening at the Estro Convention Center, right next door actually was where the show was. A couple of the fursuiters were there just sort of casually posing around. And some of them started just coming up to some of the patrons of the show and very Chester Ringtail style started, well, let's just say, turning it into a burlesque show.
Yes.
You're enjoying this too much, aren't you?
I wasn't there, honest. At least not that anybody can prove.
BBF, we need video footage right now.
Do you think BBF would have filmed that? Yes, he would have in a heartbeat, wouldn't he?
Absolutely. Actually, the filming and, the videography and all that stuff at Eurofurence, that also blows me away every single year. All the stuff that they were doing at opening ceremonies yesterday, the animation and all the cameras and even the laser show that they were doing, absolutely fantastic. And I can imagine if we went back to the Czech Republic for 1 year that they could perfectly recreate all of that, couldn't they?
They can. The thing is, every year, Eurofurence films everything exhaustively and they make a video to commemorate the year. They usually release it 30 years later. So since we are now becoming unstuck in time, you might have seen the EF11 and EF12 videos. The EF13 video is not due until after I'm dead.
I mean, we could probably bribe BBF to get it a little faster, can't we?
How do we bribe BBF? What do we give him?
A burlesque show.
No, we give him American beer.
Oh, goodness. Oh, that story, eh?
Turn around, Tien. It's them again.
Oh.
No. I'm not falling for this again. I am not falling for this again. You can fool me once. Shame on you. And fool me twice.
This one's hard.
Oh, is that a real one?
That's very, very real. And it's very, very for me as well.
Oh, do I get one?
Oh, wrong one. That's one.
We'll be right back after these messages.
Hey, BBF, make sure you get that on camera. It's so nice when I get to have a taste of what the Uncle Kage has to enjoy all the time. He was complaining before he even got into the room, saying, I was on my way here and I was given so much wine. And I looked at him and I said, oh, you poor first American problem baby, you. Where'd you get that? Do you need a screw?
Where's that guy?
Uncle Kage needs a screw. Someone screw Uncle Kage. I mean, his bottle.
Bitte schön. Êtes-vous français? Oh! Deutscher! Geben Sie mir. Oh! I'll take it anyway, thank you. See, this is the first German that I learned. Okay, I have to tell you about the, remember at Indie FurCon?
Yes.
When I was at the bar?
Oh, no.
I was at, Indianapolis. Very hard for Europeans to say, Indianapolis. I was at Indianapolis and people were asking me about Eurofurence. And they said, do you speak German? And I said, well, I learned all of my German going to Eurofurence. I learned how to say, Wein. I learned how to say Weißwein. I learned how to say Geben Sie mir Wein. I learned how to say Geben Sie mir Wein jetzt. I learned how to say Geben Sie mir Wein jetzt, bitch. And as people were giggling, they were laughing. And the bartender came up to me and she said, what did you just say to me?
She got a really big tip after that.
$20, yeah.
Which is like €2.
At the time.
Yes. So you had a glass and a bottle just now. You were taking two Germans at the same time. Dude, Eurofurence really knows how to push you to your limit. What is that?
Wet. By the way,
Yes,
this is a charity show. Are we still getting money? Because we're sweating our asses off up here, but if we're not getting money, I'll tell you what,
by the
it's
way.
some sour notes or something. That works. Do your stuff, guys.
There we are.
We want to That's a start. It's Greek Yoshi. Hello, Yoshi.
Hello, Greek Yoshi. Oh, thank you so kindly, Greek Yoshi. Thank you, you're a good Yoshi.
If anyone would like to hear more about our Lord and Savior, alcohol,
Oh, thank you so kindly. Thank you very much.
we remember the precious birth of booze in those ancient days before we had bottles, where we simply had to put rotting grapes into our mouths and wait. Remember those days, Tien? You're old.
Oh, yes, very much so.
Yes.
That innocent, act of just putting those grapes in your mouth and, having a wind in your face and potential food poisoning.
Having a what in your face?
Having grapes, rotten grapes in your face.
Of course, I misheard you. Thank you so much. On behalf of the Stretch Rats, we thank you. And
Those are the
this
same.
really does look real. God damn it.
That's the problem, is that it's too real. But
It is too fucking real.
We could jerry rig it so it has like an IV drip of sake.
Don't say jerry rigged in this country.
Oh, my bad.
Oops. Okay, we're going to Trump rig it. We can say that.
Okay, we can Trump rig it, fine. I've got two bottles, but only one straw now. I have to Trump rig this one as well somehow.
There's a second straw.
So, what else is happening at this convention? I'm trying to think right now on the back line. Oh, there is a
Oh,
second straw.
well, okay, this is a charity performance, but we also have a charity auction.
Yes, we have a charity auction. I remember, actually. Did we not go and do the auction earlier? Just like a little preview of what's there?
We stepped into the charity auction earlier to see what might be there, and I actually dropped something off. Is anybody out there familiar with a little web comic called Slackworm? Do you like Ferragus? Joshua Wright donated a Ferragus plushie. It's down in the charity auction, an actual, honest-to-goodness, official Ferragus plush. You can take it home.
Yes, this brush comes with the unique, uncanny feature of sitting there and doing nothing. Yes, it is the only plush of its kind that does that. You can put it down, and it does nothing. For example, it's like this bottle. If I put this bottle down, actually I'm not going to do that because I want it, but if you put the plush down, it just sits there and does nothing. It's very lifelike, wouldn't you agree?
Exactly. Let us not disappoint Mr. Wright, the creator of Slackworm. We should like to see Ferragus go for a lot of money. And again, as Tien has promised, we can absolutely guarantee that that plush will do positively nothing. You can put it on your desk and it will do absolutely nada, zilch, rien, nothing at all.
Yes, you can put it on your gold shinies and tell it to guard it, and you'll find that it's probably just actually done an effective job of guarding it. But you know, most of the time it does nothing. So it's a great deal. You can pay a whole lot of money for a whole lot of nothing, and somewhere in the world, a European mink will be very happy for it. Because remember, this is for charity, and this is for the Lutriola European minks as they try to fight back the Americans.
Yes, they're fighting against the American onslaught.
Yes, the American takeover.
And winning with their help.
Oh yes, we can help the Europeans beat the Americans back to their homes.
But I also understand, Mr. Amore, is there not also a charity concert planned?
There is a charity concert, and it is Saturday afternoon. I don't remember the exact times, either 1 or 2 maybe. There's usually tickets for it. I don't know how many are left, but they usually sell out. So if you don't have a ticket for the charity concert, now is definitely the time to get one.
I just like to hear him talk. It makes me hard. I said that in the microphone, didn't I?
So the way it goes is as soon as I leave America, it just takes maybe a couple of minutes for the Scottish to come back. That's all it takes.
Wait, are you saying you have an American accent?
Every time I try and do an American accent, I sound like I'm from Texas.
That's actually rather convincing, I'll have you know. Goodness.
He does. Earlier on, when he was trying to speak German, we had a Scot speaking German with an American Texan accent. My mind just exploded at that point.
It's the furry fandom.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of this fandom. Has anybody yet added up how much money the various furry conventions have raised for charity over the years?
They have, but it's actually getting harder and harder to track these days.
It is, since we're metric, it is a metric fuck ton of money.
Wait, because if it was imperial, it wouldn't be as impressive. Are you saying that?
Anthrocon alone has raised more than $250,000, and that's a single convention. Midwest Fur Fest just raises stupid amounts of money. But I've always told all my colleagues over in America, Eurofurence outdoes us on everything. Let's not make a liar out of me, shall we? Because what is this all about? Why do we raise money for charity? Especially animal-related charities, because we are the ones who give voice to those who have no voice of their own.
Hear, hear.
If we don't do it, who else will?
And look at those water noodles. Okay, come on. Who doesn't want to pet a water noodle? Come on. That's the whole point of this, is you look at the water noodle, and the water noodle looks back at you, and then you look back at it, and then it just gives you this little, like, colon-free smile, and then it's like, okay, shut up and take my money. That's how charity usually works.
So they've given us some more money. We should probably do something funny. I'm out of ideas. What should we do? Maybe Fox can think of something.
Dude, these are... Dude.
Song?
Yeah.
Dude, shh, look at this.
There's 50s
Hey,
in
who wants to
there.
hear Uncle
There are
Kage sing?
50s in here.
What kind of song?
Stick a few more euros in the charity and let's see if we can get Uncle Kage.
You haven't been to the dealer's den yet, have you? That's why all the money's here. All right, whoever is in charge of doing the money thing, if you want to come and help clean this up, because this is a rather nice
I
chunk
know,
of
come
cake.
on, for God's sake. Only the Brits would like that. We can do my national anthem, the original version. Do you know that the American national anthem started out as a bawdy British drinking song? It kind of fits, doesn't it? You see, it was during the War of 1812 when the Americans kicked the asses of the British, more or less.
But we burned your White House.
Okay, they burned our capital, but we still mostly kind of sort of won. Kind of not, but did. Yeah, the British gave us guns, and we said, well, we have a constitutional right to these, so we're going to shoot them at you. But of course, the British gave us their leftover guns. There was a fellow named Francis Scott Key who was watching the bombardment of the city of Baltimore. And he looked through the haze of the morning day. How is the battle going? Did the British win? And far off in the distance, he could see, through the haze of smoke, the American flag still flying, and he was inspired to write a poem. He was inspired to write a poem because the British sailors had gone on a bender the night before. They were still up, they were drunk off their asses, and they were belting out their favorite drinking song.
Oh, so you mean Anthrocon staff dinner?
Yes, basically. And I have taken upon myself to learn that version because that's the original version. And it's a wonderful song, and it basically talks about some basically fat old Greek guy who essentially loves to get drunk and throw up on his shoes and wear a lab coat up in heaven. Something like that.
You didn't throw up on your shoes already, did you?
Well, that's why they're so shiny. If you don't know the version, I'll give it to you. I'll probably fuck it up because I might have had a little bit to drink. Let's give it a try, shall we?
Go for it.
The original song. To Anacreon in heaven, where he's sat in full glee, a few sons of harmony sent a petition that he there inspire and patron would be. This answer came back from the jolly old Grecian voice, fiddle and flute, be thou no longer mute. I'll lend you my name and inspire you to boot, and thus I'll instruct you once more to entwine the mantle of Venus with Bacchus's wine. God bless America.
I was absolutely taken aback by that.
Was that?
I was absolutely taken aback by that stunning rendition, so much so that I must give you a present for it.
Oh, a present!
Yes, you may have
It
it.
says, Canada burnt the White House.
Sorry.
Sorry. That's what it says.
I mean, remember, blame Canada.
You have settled after your long establishment as a guardian of the skies. You've settled in Canada, haven't you?
Whoa, did I just double in volume?
I think you might have.
Yeah, I think, whoa, dude, I'm like talking in 3D right now. That's
Yes.
cool. Yes, but yes, as you are correct, I have settled in Canada. Sorry.
I wish I knew all the words to this one.
Well,
I don't know
you
if
mean the
I'm supposed
Canadian
to.
national anthem? Is that what you're saying? Well, we could give it a shot. Would you like me to take point on it?
How's it go?
Canada, our home and native land. True patriot love is all of us comprise. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north and beavers. From far and wide, oh Canada, that spark sun is for me. God keep our land until we meet again. Oh Canada, your great long rise for me. Oh Canada, your great long rise our land.
That's the American version of this national anthem. Okay, we gotta be fair. You're stuck with a national anthem you never wrote, right?
Wait, he wrote a national anthem?
No, 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 no.
Our
He's-
national anthem is just how drunk we are, depends
Okay,
on the song
his
it
national
is.
anthem, you can either be extremely drunk or very tired. Shall we have it for Her Majesty?
Can't you be both?
You can. Let's have it. Ladies and gentlemen, Her Majesty the Queen. The real
The
one.
Queen is
The
national
Queen's
anthem.
English.
Oh, my dad's gonna kill me.
Fuck your dad.
Sorry, Doc.
Everyone join in.
Lord save the Queen. Lord, gracious Queen, God save us.
But you got your own words here. Okay, we're gonna skip the boring verse. Let's go to the Ark of the Covenant verse.
Yeah, let's hear the Indiana Jones part.
This is the best verse. Right? Oh Lord, our God, arise, scatter her enemies, and make them fall. Queen Elizabeth has the Ark of the Covenant. She opens the thing up and everybody dies.
And I still love the entire fact that if you look at any of the Commonwealth countries and the currency, whichever person is on the currency, if it's the Queen, for example, if she's closer to the motherland, she still looks like she's smiling, but the farther you go away from the motherland, she's just scowling. So if you're all the way in Australia, she's basically just looking at you with sheer, pure, unfiltered disappointment.
She's like she wants to kill your entire race. Like, it's just terrifyingly angry.
Yeah, that's the British.
You
I'm sorry, too soon, too soon. All right, what about the Scottish national anthem? Have you guys written one yet?
We're kind of working on it.
Oh, well, how long have you been working on
Once
it
this
now?
Brexit thing sorted out, we're going to have our own national anthem, and we're going to be part of
Does
the
it
European
involve
Union.
whiskey? Whee! All right, if Scotland had a national anthem, what would it be?
Basically, the exact opposite is everything England says. The exact opposite.
And
So
Roderick
you're
would
going-
sing it, right? Roderick would sing it, right?
Runway would probably sing it, yeah. Or maybe Sean Connery would like recite it in poetry. Like that kind of works
Okay,
too.
if Sean Connery sings it and he doesn't at one point say "shut it, Tremec," then I'm going to be disappointed.
Yes, I'm Sean Connery. I've got a thick up in the... That's the...
Hi, Sean Connery, and this is the Scottish national anthem.
And that's it. Nobody knows what it is.
Sean
What?
Connery's Sean Connery plays Draco in Dragonheart. I'm sorry, it's over it.
What time is it, by the way? Have we gone over time? If we gone over time, it'd be... Oh, we got 10 minutes. We got 10 minutes. Fuck, we gotta fill 10 minutes. Think of something, quick. I don't remember
That's
the words.
all you.
And only the English would appreciate it. All right, how many English people are out there? Oh, I'm sorry, how many British people are out there? A lot more, did you notice? Yeah, we know what it's like to be, subject to a foreign power who is kind of in control of your nation against your wishes.
You
guys escaped.
Dude, Scotland should be like Canada. I mean, when we get our feelings hurt by Britain, we go get them checked out for free.
I could probably bring the words
Are we
up.
doing this then? Are we going to do the freaking Flanders and Swan thing?
As soon as I can remember the words. I don't know if I have intertubes here. All right. Keep me busy. I'm gonna look shit up.
I'm just enjoying the fact that this old man over here still can't use Google for his life. He calls me every other day and he asks me, Tien, I can't figure out why my Google isn't working. And I ask him, did you turn your phone off and on? And his only reply is, oh.
Go!
Did you get it yet?
Yes!
Good, I gave it enough time.
It is a song describing the British weather.
Yes.
Give us the first run and we'll go through. January brings the snow, makes your feet and fingers glow. February's ice and sleet, freeze the toes right off your feet. Welcome March with wintry wine, when there were none so unkind. April brings the sweet spring showers, on and on for hours and hours. Farmers fear unkindly May, frost by night and hail by day. June just rains and never stops, 30 days and spoils the crops. In July the sun is hot. Is it shine? No, it's not. August cold and dark and wet, brings more rain than any yet. Bleak September's mist and mud is enough to chill the blood. Then October adds a gale, wind and source and rain and hail. Dark November brings the yeah, went away. Sorry, I got an ad. Fuck the ad. Sorry, don't want the ad. Sorry. Dark November brings the fog. Should not do it to a dog. Freezing wet December. Bloody January again. Oh, the Brits like that one, don't they? And the Germans are one to talk because we've experienced your German summer here, haven't we? Yes, I was out there getting a suntan when the hailstones hit me. Now, good God, that looks like a lot of money.
Dude, I'm still surprised. I mean, where are the money people right now? I mean, this is a whole...
I don't know, I think they baggered off. Oh, they're British, I think we insulted them.
Oh, right. They're going to check if the weather is sunning or shining yet. Don't think it is.
Yes. Oh, hello. Well, start putting it in there. Start stuffing it in there. You're good at that. Go on, stuff it.
How much time do we have
Somebody got up on that.
You killed perhaps 3 or 4 of the 10 minutes. How much time do we got left up here?
I don't remember. Where's my phone?
Dude, I'm not finding your phone.
How do I turn it on?
Yes. Okay, we're not doing the live text report bit, okay? I'm already aged enough up here.
All right, we're winding down. Okay, our feet are tired and you're tired. So we're going to wind this up once again on behalf of these stretch rats / European minks / danger noodles, whatever we want to call them.
Yeah, danger noodles.
As we say, those who have no voice, that's what furries do. We are generous folk and we understand helping out those who need help, don't we? And I'm going to throw a little extra thing in.
Go for it.
As an American, I had a little bit of fun earlier on, both in this show and in the previous show, poking fun at some of the events that happened in the lives of our parents and grandparents for some of us. Not to make light of those events, but to remember those events. We can't forget them. Sometimes among friends, you just have to look back and laugh. And one of these days, this is an earnest hope of mine. I'm going to reiterate this because this is something I hope to God happens before I die. Someday I want to sit down with an Al-Qaeda terrorist and I want to share a meal and I want to look and smile and laugh and say, remember how it was when we didn't understand each other? Here's to that day.
I think that's an appropriate note to end off on, especially with how Eurofurence has brought so many together. We can look forward to many, wink wink cheetah, more years of them.
And I hope they will invite us back because there's a lot more bottles where this came from.
Well, I guess we'll just have to start working on them then.
We are forever indebted to the incredible, amazing Fox Amore for indulging us. Thank you so much, Fox. And equally indebted to the retired God of the Skies, Tien for keeping the thunderstorms away so I was able to get here. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
That's your theme song. Shouldn't you be dancing to that?
No.
At your age?
At my age, I should probably be in a wheelchair whenever I listen to that and get flashbacks of when I danced to that.
Oh yes, wheelchair breakdancing.
We
Who
are
wants to
not
see it?
introducing
Who wants to see
wheelchair
breakdancing with Tien
We are not introducing wheelchair breakdancing as a panel.
2020 charity event, we just got it. Wheelchair breakdancing with Tien Long. Somebody write it down. Isn't it sweet how he volunteered for that?
Yes. I couldn't help but notice that at the same time you've got this lovely staff badge.
That's not staff, that's guest. That's not staff, that's guest. That means guest.
Rita, you know what to do.
I'm not
with them.
staff, I'm a guest. Just like Fox Amore is guest, that's guest, right? That means guest. Guest. All right. We've 3 hairs left.
Dude, I think you're looking at 2.5 there.
What the hell happened here?
I don't know, that's true.
Did you hear that?
I think that's Cheetah's voice of God.
Okay, I'm definitely hearing things. Okay, when you get to that point where you're starting to hear things, it's time to go.
Yep, I agree. Is there a snap in here that just mowed at us? Somebody go get that snap. It's hunting season at EF.
Ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are left who have endured this long, we thank you for your generosity on behalf of the charity. We look forward to many more of these things. Both Tien Long, myself, and Fox Amore were here the entire weekend. If we have given you the slightest bit of a chuckle or a little bit of good feeling this evening, then it is time well spent. Thank you for sharing it with us this afternoon. And thanks especially to our amazing helpers who are helping to count the money. All right, you can fuck off now. We're done.
Yes, go and thicken the off to the water noodles and whatnot.
Yes, yes,
And whatnot.
yes, yes.